Welcome back to the Paranormal State, Washington, and UFO UAP. With Makāula Nakae, a lifelong experiencer and ET contactee since 1990. Today's episode, 1940s, Pre-Contactees, Richard Sharpe Shaver, and the dawn of the flying saucer era. While the formal face-to-face contactee movement with charismatic leaders telling stories of space brothers exploded in the 1950s, the 1940s served as the critical incubator. Strictly speaking, the famous 1950s contactees, like George Adamski or Truman Bethurum, did not publish their face-to-face encounter claims until after the modern UFO era kicked off in 1947. However, the 1940s laid the essential groundwork through pulp fiction, esoteric underground lore, and the birth of modern sightings. Before the classic 1950s figures stepped onto the scene, the 1940s featured these foundational proto-contactee and high strangeness milestones. Long before Kenneth Arnold spotted flying discs over Mount Rainier in 1947, and years before the 1950s Space Brothers began preaching atomic disarmament in the Mojave Desert, American pulp magazine culture was rocked by an entirely different kind of high strangeness. It was known as the Shaver Mystery, and it stands as one of the most bizarre, psychologically complex, and culturally influential rabbit holes of the mid-20th century. The saga began in 1943, when Ray Palmer, the enterprising and unorthodox editor of Amazing Stories magazine, received a rambling, eccentric letter from a Pennsylvania factory welder named Richard Sharpe Shaver. Shaver claimed that back in 1932, while operating an industrial welding torch, a freak anomaly in the equipment's magnetic field tuning allowed him to experience something terrifying. He began hearing voices. Not just ordinary ambient noise, but the telepathic thoughts of unseen entities and the agonizing audio records of brutal torture sessions taking place deep within colossal cave systems underneath the Earth's crust. Rather than dismissing the letters as the product of severe psychological distress, Palmer recognized a goldmine of visceral pulp magazine mythology. He took Shaver's roughly 10,000-word manuscript, originally titled A Warning to Future Man, heavily rewrote and sweetened it with fast-paced action, and published it as a novella titled I Remember Lemuria in the March 1945 issue of Amazing Stories. Shaver's mythology was a sweeping apocalyptic pseudo-history that tapped right into ancient astronaut themes and hollow earth lore. Millions of years ago, an advanced prehistoric civilization lived on Earth's surface. Facing lethal, escalating radiation from the sun, they evacuated the planet for deep space, but left behind massive subterranean cities carved out beneath the continents. Over time, the descendants left behind split into two factions. The Teros, detrimental integrative energy robots. The robot to Shaver meant a biological being shaped by its environment rather than metal, remained noble, helpful, and rational. Conversely, the Deros, short for detrimental robots, that generated into sadistic, mentally warped entities. According to Shaver, the Deros possessed forgotten, god-tired technology left behind by the elder race, including ray machines capable of projecting invisible torment, manipulating human thoughts, causing accidents, and monitoring surface dwellers. Worse still, the Deros allegedly used subterranean tunnels to slip to the surface, kidnapping thousands of innocent humans for food or unspeakable torture. Crucially, both Shaver and Palmer insisted that the stories were not fiction, they were historical, terrifying truth. The public response was immediate and overwhelming. The March 1945 issue sold out instantly, and over the next few years, Amazing Stories was flooded with tens of thousands of letters from readers. Astonishingly, many correspondents didn't mock the claims. Instead, they wrote in sharing their own personal encounters with subterranean voices, missing time, or unexplained harassment by unseen cave dwellers. At its peak, the Shaver Mystery accounted for over 75% of the magazine's content, transforming a sci-fi publication into a literal clearinghouse for modern paranoia. While mainstream science and skeptical critics pointed out that Shaver exhibited classic symptoms of psychological distress, specifically the historical archetype of the influencing machine delusion common in paranoid states, the cultural footprint left by the Shaver Mystery was indelible. The Shaver Mystery served as the vital, weirdly shaped psychological bridge between traditional ghost demon lore and modern UFO abduction culture. It introduced the concept of malevolent, unseen, non-human forces secretly manipulating human minds and bodies from hidden bases. It established the template of the whistleblower who breaks ranks to reveal a hidden, terrifying reality that mainstream authorities refuse to acknowledge. It proved that a frightened public in the shadow of World War II and the atomic bomb was intensely eager to believe that human beings were merely pawns in a vast, unseen cosmic or subterranean game. When the modern UFO wave hit in earnest just a few years later, the cultural soil had already been thoroughly tilled, fertilized, and electrified by Richard Shaver and his welding torch revelations from the deep earth. While civilian pilot Kenneth Arnold did not claim to contact aliens when he famously spotted 9 high-speed disc-shaped objects near Mount Rainier on June 24, 1947, his widespread media interviews birthed the term flying saucer and ignited the global collective consciousness. Without the 1947 shockwave, the cultural framework for space visitors wouldn't have existed for the 1950s contactees to build upon. Occurring just weeks after Arnold's sighting, the military's initial press release about capturing a flying disc quickly retracted as a weather balloon, shifted public perception from secret enemy spy planes to the distinct possibility of extraterrestrial visitation. Theosophical and ascended master channels, mid to late 1940s. Rooted earlier in the 20th century but heavily active through the 1940s, esoteric groups like the I Am Activity, founded by Guy Ballard, practice channeling ascended masters frequently, including beings from Venus. While not yet calling them extraterrestrials and spaceships, these spiritual networks condition the public to accept the idea that higher intelligence from other celestial bodies was broadcasting messages of spiritual guidance to humanity. The 1940s didn't have spacesuited visitors stepping out of flying saucers for coffee just yet, but they built the cosmic antenna, blending pulp magazines, atomic anxiety, and esoteric philosophy, right before the flying saucers officially landed. To be continued. Watch and listen. Watch the cinematic video trailer. Listen to the full podcast now. Explore the archived Cosmic Awakening Volume 1, 1991, Peru, Journey into the Unknown. Sacred Valley of the Incas. Volume 2, Ascension 2012, The Golden Alchemy. Part 3, The First Contact and the Paranormal State. Join the journey. New episodes drop periodically. Each chapter delivers a tight, hyper-focused 10 to 30-minute exploration into the evolution of ufology, perfect for your daily plunge into decoding hidden messages from outer space, designed to raise awareness and foster human evolution. Subscribe to support your inner development. Thumbs up to help push our channel through the algorithm. Comment below. Share your thoughts on today's episode.